plains nor the depths could claim me.
How's it going, everyone? It's Solarbacca today, another video, and today it is 4:29 a.m. and I cannot sleep, but it's okay because I'm here to bring you guys a new and updated runes and item guide. It's currently October 16th, patch 13.2. The D-Blade items have recently been buffed, and I'm here to show you guys the new setups that I'm taking. So if you guys do enjoy the video, please be sure to leave a like, comment down below what you want to see next, and yeah, subscribe. Let's get into this. These are the runes that I would take and that I believe are viable. I'm not going to go over every rune page that is viable because I do believe Fleet Footwork can work on Gangplank, but I'm going to go over what I think is best, what I take in my games, and what I think you guys should take in your games as well. That being said, let's start off with Grasp. So Grasp is a rune that you can take more often now than before, and I would say that a reasoning for this is because with the D-Blade items getting a little bit more health, you can add a little bit more tankiness, get a little bit more damage from Grasp, and also it's just an overall solid rune if you're first learning Gangplank and you kind of don't want to rage quit the champion because you can't land any barrels and you want to go Q start, then this is the way to go for Grasp. Whether you're playing against something like a Rumble, whether you're playing against something like a Jace, Grasp is always going to be a very solid rune. So let's start off. We're going to go Grasp, Demolish. Depending on the matchup, if you're against, let's say, a Riven who can all-in you, then you would go Bone Plating. Otherwise, any other matchup, Second Wind will always be best. And then Revitalize is going to be good if you are trying to play to survive poke. And if you're not trying to play to survive poke and you're playing against that Riven matchup, that Aurelia matchup, and you want to do Grasp, this is what your rune page is going to look like. Secondary, you can go Sorcery. This, I would say, is where you have more choice on Gangplank. I would say your primary rune page is pretty much going to be Grasp or First Strike, but your secondary rune page is really completely up to you. So runes you can take are Absolute Focus and Scorch if you're really trying to be aggressive. Or I would say that's pretty much the only rune page you can take from the sorcery tree. You could also go Absolute Focus and Gathering Storm, obviously. Or you can go Inspiration with Futures Market and Cosmic Insight, or Biscuits and Cosmic Insight. Now, some people will always ask me, what about magical footwear and like biscuits? This is something you could also take as well, even stopwatch and biscuits. Like I said, there's so much you can do for your secondary runes. There's no true wrong answer. It's whatever type of Gangplank you would like to play. Most of my games, if I'm taking Grasp, I'm most likely taking Second Wind, I'm most likely taking Revitalize, and I'm also taking Cosmic Insight and Futures Market. This is what a normal rune page would look like for me. If you're against the poke heavy matchup, like let's say a Teemo, I would take Double Adaptive along with MR. Yeah, the attack speed rune is nice, but when you take Grasp, it's because your trades are short and you need to get as much damage off as quickly as possible. That's the main goal of Grasp. So into that Teemo matchup, you can do Absolute Focus, you can do Scorch, you could do Biscuits, and you could do Cosmic Insight. There's no real wrong answer. It's just whatever you feel like your goal is, if you're going to be on the offensive or if you're going to be on the defensive. Next, let's go over First Strike. Now, First Strike has also a lot of variations that you can do in the First Strike and the Inspiration tree, so let's go over some of them. So first of all, we're going to take First Strike and Secondary. Perfect Timing or Magical Footwear is what a lot of people are like, what do I do? Now, let me tell you this. As a Challenger Gangplank in obviously Korea, EU, North America, I find that Stopwatch is consistently the best playmaking rune. It's a 750 gold item that you get for free. That allows you to make insane outplays or to survive long enough for your team to, rotate to you, to survive a gang, to not have to burn your flash. Against a Riven, you could probably flash her R, or you could stopwatch it. If you're going for a dive, you can also use stopwatch. So I really believe that Stopwatch is genuinely one of the best runes on Gangplank. I know that Mankey is taking it now more than ever before, and he's making a lot of plays with it. So it's nice to see that more and more Gangplank players across the world are getting used to, you know what? I'm going to pay the extra 300 gold because I'm going to make a play that's going to net me like 1k gold, that type of thing. And even if you don't end up using it, it's always nice to have insurance. It's always really, really nice to have insurance. So that is why I heavily advocate for Perfect Timing on Gangplank. Next, we have Futures Market. Now, The new strategy that I'm currently trying, and I'll probably make a video on as well, and is going to be Futures Market. Futures Market, I like to do 2-pot with Longsword start on Gangplank. Now, the reasoning that I do this is because in 2 patches ago, I believe it was, Futures Market was nerfed. Typically, you could purchase a Sheen with 540 gold in previous patches, but now it's been nerfed. Now you need 580 gold. 580 gold to be able to purchase Sheen. So that's about 3 more minions, which obviously you're not really able to get. Even if you perfectly farm, even if you get first strike, you're still going to come up short more often than not, especially with the first strike nerfs. So with Futures Market, it's very good to go 1-pot or 2-pot start depending on the matchup. And it'll allow you to get a Sheen on your Cheetah Recall, whether it be on the 3rd wave, whether it be on the 4th wave. It's just overall very strong. Minion Dematerializer. This is a rune that is specifically good for mid lane Gangplank. If you're playing mid lane Gangplank and you're against a mage like Victor, like a Nivea, these are champions that you can't really bully, but also that they shove you in. So in order to take less poke and also be able to farm without being too oppressed, I highly recommend going Minion Dematerializer on the casters, and then at level 7 with Sheen, Longsword, and Cole / D-Blade / another Longsword, you'll be able to one-shot the caster minions and be able to pretty much match the wave clear of all these mages that I named. Next is Biscuit Delivery. Biscuit Delivery, I think, is overall kind of a solid rune depending on the matchup that you're into. It's kind of like into the matchups that you can't really kill you, but that also poke you a lot. So let's say you're against a Vladimir top lane. If you're against a Vladimir top lane, you could get Futures Market, right? And you could like sack a few minions early on and just try to play for Sheen. You're not really going to be able to get a Cheetah Recall. Or you can go Biscuits and kind of just match the poke while also staying even in CS. So it's kind of like what your goal really is in the lane. Again, if you're able to go Futures Market, all the more for you. That's the best power for GP, is being able to take Futures Market. But if you're in a matchup that you feel is like, well, you know, it gets a little bit scrappy, but I know I can win with just a little help, then you would take Biscuit Delivery. Next, we're going to come down to Cosmic Insight. So Cosmic Insight is pretty much a no-brainer. Cosmic Insight is a no-brainer on Gangplank. 100% the best rune in the Inspiration Tree, in the 4th branch of the Inspiration Tree. Just absolute amazing. Takes 50 seconds off your flash, takes a minute off TP, and it's just better than the other ones. Approach velocity, some people will say, oh, you get a barrel and you can move faster towards them. Never needed. It's never needed. It's extremely redundant. You don't need it at all. There's no reason to take this, and it's never going to outperform Cosmic Insight, even in scenarios where approach velocity would give you some value, right? Like if you're against some ranged top laner that you could actually bully, like a Vayne, it's really not going to change anything. Or even if you're taking it for, even if the argument's like for comp, you know, that you have a lot of engaged melee supports or Sejuani or something, like Cosmic Insight is just, Cosmic Insight is just always going to outperform approach velocity. And Time Warp Tonic is completely obsolete ever since the nerfs that was about a year ago, I would say. A year ago, those patches came out where they nerfed the movement speed and the amount of health it gave you from 50% to 30%, I believe it was. It's just completely lost all of its value. So Cosmic Insight is the best. And next we're going to go over runes. So pay attention, because this is where things can get a little complicated and you really have to do some thinking. Typically, the runes that I like to run the most are Alacrity and Cut Down. Now, if you want an explanation, I like taking Alacrity on Gangplank because it allows you to outtime. It allows you to do 2 things. It allows you to outtime the opponent on barrels, right? Let's say you're against Caitlyn or Jinx or an AD carry, right? Any other AD carry. What makes a big difference is being able to get your auto attack animation off faster than their bullet can travel to your barrel. That'll allow you to get the small opening, right? That small opening is really, really, really important, and what's needed to be able to close that gap so that you can actually get the timing on the barrel, which obviously makes a big difference. You know, being able to do that 900 damage, that 1k barrel on the AD carry is such a big deal, which is why I like Alacrity. Now, there's a second reason I like Alacrity, and that's for passive resets. So if you'll ever see one of my videos or one of my clips, you'll notice that sometimes you'll see me do like 3k true damage to, like, I don't know, like a Scion or something. And the reason for that is because pretty much Alacrity. I'm able to place a barrel down, auto-8, Q the barrel, place a barrel, auto-attack the Scion, and then go back to the barrel in the same breath before he could even auto-attack said barrel, and there's nothing he can do about it. Like there's literally nothing that most champions can do. If you have Alacrity and you already have a barrel set up, you can easily get a double passive reset or a triple passive reset. That's what Alacrity also enables you to do, is to be able to triple passive reset. If you're already in the bush, you can place a barrel down, auto attack the opponent, then place 2 barrels Q, and then auto attack as the barrels are blowing up, and that's how you get a triple passive. Alacrity is insane for this reason. So Alacrity is a no-brainer for the precision tree if you are taking it. And next, I really like Cut Down. I think Last Stand is not very good on Gangplank unless you're playing like Trinity Force GP. And then Coup de Grace is also not needed on GP whatsoever. So Cut Down is my go-to for Gangplank, mainly because it scales so well into every single matchup, especially now where you're seeing more bruisers, more melee supports. Junglers are extremely utility heavy, tanky. Mid laners, mage items have a lot of HP as well. Even if you build D-Blade, even if you build Trinity Force and you got the 200 health from Ruby Crystal, or 250. Yeah, 200 health from Ruby Crystal. Is it? No, it's 150. Yeah, it's 150. Cut Down will always have value. And in some matchups, it's completely game warping. For example, Gangplank against Scion is game warping. If you look at any single video that I have, when I play versus Baus, when I play versus pretty much any single tank top laner, right? When I played against Baus in EU, for example, about a year or two ago, and I took Cut Down, it has 900 damage by 7 minutes, 8 minutes into the game consistently, which is absolutely insane, and obviously scales extremely well into most top lane matchups. It just gives you so much value and so much damage, and it really gives you the edge that you need to be able to kill top laners, especially when you're waiting for Navori. When you're at Essence Reaver and you're at that awkward point between Essence and Navori, Cut Down really does a lot of work into these matchups. Another one is Cassante. Yeah, Cassante is another matchup, another example of Cut Down just having so much value that there's no reason to not take it. I think it is the best rune into some of those matchups that I mentioned, like the Cassante, like the Ornn, like the Scion especially. It's just the go-to. It's just go-to. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the precision tree. I like to take these runes when I know I'm against somebody tanky, which is a lot of bruisers top lane. And it's pretty good into team compositions as well. Sejuani, Vladimir mid lane, these champions get a lot of health. Rise, Cassiopeia, these champs get a lot of health and make Alacrity and Cut Down so insanely valuable. I don't take attack speed rune with the Alacrity setup, mainly because I already get the attack speed. So yeah. Next, we're gonna go over Domination. So Domination on Gangplank is something that I have a love-hate relationship with. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. You'll see spurts where I use it for a month, and then spurts where I give up on it. It really is one of those rune trees that is kind of always solid no matter what matchup you're playing into, but it's definitely the lazy man's option, I would say. It's a lazy man's option in the sense that there's usually better runes. If you're taking Domination, there's usually better runes that you can take. I would say the only times Domination is better than any other rune tree is if you're against ranged top laners. If you're against Akshan, Lucian, maybe not Lucian, but if you're into like an Akshan, if you're into like trying to think of another range top laner, like I don't even know, like a Karma, I guess. This is an alternative to running Resolve. Yeah, it's an alternative to Resolve is the best way I would describe Domination. You could Taste the Blood and Treasure Hunter. That way, if you're ever in a matchup that you're going to fall down like 20 CS, 30 CS, 40 CS, it just helps to alleviate some of that pain, because when you ult across the map, you're going to get some extra gold from the assist, from the Treasure Hunter, from the first strike. It really helps to just make sure that the opponent can't get as big of a lead because of the champion that they picked. I know Rumble's another matchup that I see people run Treasure Hunter and Taste of Blood into. It's something that I used to do. And yeah, like I said, it's an alternative to Resolve. If you feel that you're not going to die in your matchup and you don't need Resolve, but you know it's also still a difficult matchup, then Domination is your alternative. I also love taking attack speed. The attack speed rune I think is extremely good on Gangplank and is such a huge difference in the quality of life at all stages in the game that I believe should just always be taken if you're not running Alacrity in the precision tree. Next, we're going to go to sorcery. So this is the rune page that I'm kind of repping a lot right now because I'm seeing myself go D-Blade start, which I'll get into as we after we finish the runes. So because I'm not getting as much value from cut down, because I'm already going D-Shield or D-Blade, I really like going Gathering Storm and Absolute Focus. It's one of my favorite rune pages to run. It just gives you so much power, especially at the 30-minute mark. At 20 minutes and at 30 minutes, it's giving you so much value. At 20 minutes, I believe it gives you 3 longswords worth of stats. It's 14 AD and then like 14 AD by the 20-minute mark. Yeah, so you're getting a good amount of AD. You're getting about 3 longswords consistently at 20 minutes, which I think is really, really good value. And 30 minutes, obviously, you're going to get so much more value. And I think it's just solid. I think it's just really solid into a lot of matchups that you kind of just you don't want to take cut down into, and you don't want to take alacrity into. You kind of just want more upfront damage and scaling damage. You want to just be that big powerhouse at mid game. So when can this be good? What's a specific matchup? If I'm thinking of a matchup right off the bat, I would say that this can be good into... I would say it could be good into Fiora. I would definitely argue that this setup can be good into Fiora. You're just looking for more damage. If you're against a tank as well, like if you're against that Ornn, if you're against that Poppy, it's also an alternative. Yeah, it's a pretty... I'm not gonna lie, thinking about it out loud, it's a pretty niche page in the sense that if you're taking this setup, it's almost a little bit greedy. It's almost a little greedy. You're like saying to your opponent, I'm gonna win the matchup and I don't need any help from anything else. So I'm just going to snowball now, snowball mid, snowball later, and just continue to get stronger. I like this page a lot, but something else that I think is really more broken than sorcery is resolve. Now, a lot of you who watch my stream know how much I love the resolve tree, especially when I play against that Riven matchup. Bone plating against Riven, bone plating against Jax, bone plating against Darius has in so much value because these champions don't take small trades. They go run at you. They take these big, huge trades. And so when their main identity is just all-inning you, like a Garen, for example, you're just able to always get full value from bone plating. It's really, really, really good against those matchups and saves you so much health that is matchup changing and could potentially be game changing, allowing you to, because of that 1v1 that you won that you otherwise wouldn't have won. Secondary, I've been taking Revitalize. Or Overgrowth. Demolish is also an option, but after turret plates got nerfed, it's not really as valuable in my opinion as Overgrowth and Revitalize. So what I've been running recently has been Second Wind and Revitalize against any and all poke matchups, or I've been going Bone Plating and Overgrowth into that Aurelia, into that Riven, into other matchups that you might struggle with that also kind of have to jump on you, like that Jax that I mentioned before. But otherwise, Second Wind Revitalize is a very, very, very solid page into those poke matchups like the Rumble, into those ranged top laners like the Akshan, the Lucian. This is the better alternative to Domination if you're somebody who just wants a guarantee and doesn't want to take any risk and kind of just scale freely. And you could pair this up with Biscuits and you're pretty much going to be unkillable if you take D-Shield as well. With First Strike and Resolve, I always take the attack speed rune. Like I said, just always so much value at every single stage of the game. And on that note, yeah, we are done with runes. These are all the Gangplank runes that I take and I alternate between. And I hope I gave you guys some sort of idea of when you should take these runes. But those are all the runes that I completely endorse and that I fully back and alternate between every game and that you guys should take. With that being said, let's get into the items. All right, now that we're done with runes, let's get into all item starts for patch 13.2. Let's do this. So here's a few here. Let me turn the announcer off. It's just annoying me. So let's get into all the items. So if you're into those poke matchups, where in this case I have Resolve and I have Second Wind and I also have Futures Market, could also take Biscuits as we went over before. I love to take D-Shield. Now for those of you who don't know, D-Shield recently got buffed from 80 health to 110 health, I believe it is. And then you're also getting more health over time, if I'm not mistaken, or that threshold is bigger. So D shield will give you 710 health level 1, which is absolutely insane. Let me just say, 710 health level 1 is absolutely insane. And if you combine that with second wind and revitalize, you're pretty much going to survive any single matchup there is in the entire game. Even a rumble matchup, which I absolutely hate and think is atrociously difficult and like just a mental block, a huge mental block. D-Shield is going to save your life and get you through any single laning phase. If you're watching this video and you want to learn Gangplank and you want to start at the very basics, go D-Shield. Go D-Shield so that you can learn how to scale. Alternatively, if you're somebody who says, I want to learn Gangplank through all of his skill matchups, through all of his easy matchups, and I want to be like you, Solarbacca. If you're watching this video and you're saying, I want to be like you, Solarbacca, I want to try and 1v9 every game, then an alternative to D-Shield, and let me just say one last thing about D-Shield, just so everybody knows. D-Shield will guarantee you to scale through laning phase. D-Shield guarantees you to not die unless you're a really bad guy. If you play like a really bad guy, you will die with D-Shield. If you're a good guy, you will survive every single lane with D-Shield. That's how broken this item is. That being said, let's go to the other more risky and more rewarding options compared to D-Shield. So we have the classic longsword refillable pot start. This is good into your matchups that are skirmishy, but that also can't really kill you, or that you're going to be greedy. This is your greedy matchup. I would say this is your greedy matchup. So you know what? Yeah. This is your greedy matchup start. If you're against the Cassante top lane, if you're against the Fiora top lane, and you're like, I know I can beat you. If you're against the Riven top lane, a Yasuo, a Yone top, and you say to yourself, I can beat you, no problem. And if you're saying, I want to try and carry games like Solarbacca does in 1v9, then listen up. Because Longsword Start gets you 350 gold straight towards your item and allows you to hit Essence Reaver earlier, which in turn allows you to hit your Power Spike earlier, potentially snowball the game faster, just get to your second item breakpoint as quickly as possible, get to level 13. This is your start. You're going to go Longsword and refillable. But if you want to be even better than that, if you say, I want to be even better than refillable, and I want to carry games now, like super quick, and I'm willing to put in 100 games to learn, right? 100 games to learn. So again, longsword refillable, greedy start into matchups you know you can win, and you're still taking a risk, but it's not as big of a risk as what I'm about to show you. 2-pot start. 1-pot start. 2-pot and 1-pot start with longsword is the most risky and the most rewarding start for Gangplank. It is extremely risky. Now let's go over this. If you go 1-pot start, that leaves you with 100 gold level 1 in your inventory. Why is this good? Because at Futures Market, at 3 minutes, when you cheat or recall on the 3rd wave or on the 4th wave, depending on how your lane state is, you're guaranteed to get Sheen even if you missed a lot of minions. Even if you have 12 CS or 13 CS, as long as you got a first strike proc off or 2, you will get Sheen, which gives you so much power in the lane. Now, you might be saying, well, it sounds great. What's so risky about it? You have 1 potion. 120 health. Only 1 shot, 120 health. You buy 2, then you get 240 health. Now, why is this kind of bad, though? Well, that's not bad, but why can it be damaging? If you make 1 mistake in the laning phase, 1 mistake, and the opponent holds the wave, and you have 1-pot or 2-pot start, you're going to suffer. You will suffer. You will also not be able to purchase Sheen in time. And you will also have to spend more gold on potions. So that 50 gold, that 100 gold that you spent level 1 is going down the drain, and now you're going to have to buy refillable again, which is an extra 150 gold now at this point, right? or you're gonna buy more health potions, which is just more gold down the drain. This is your hard 1v9. I am going to carry the game. I'm better than you. I'm him setup. This is what I'm gonna label it. This is the I'm him setup. You take 1 pot or 2 pot, you recall in the 3rd wave, you get Sheen, you brute force your way through the lane to be able to get that Sheen, and then you just absolutely demolish it on the pushback. Because then the wave, after you crash it, will slow push back towards you. You have Sheen, and now you're very, very powerful. This is the setup to carry games if you're him. If you're not him and then you're in the process of becoming him, if you're in the process of becoming the big man, then go D-Shield. Or go Longsword Refillable. Or this new setup that I'm going to show you. D-Blade and 1 pot start. D-Blade has been buffed to give you 10 AD compared to its old 8 AD. So it gives you the exact amount as a longsword, right? It gives you the exact amount as a longsword. And it also gives you 100 health. 100 health. That is 10 less health than D-Shield. Obviously, you don't get the regeneration stats, right? But this gives you the same exact AD as Longsword. It gives you 100 health, which can be absolutely huge into those bruiser matchups. Now, what am I going to go back to again? That Riven, that Fiora, that Yasuo, that Yone, that Aurelia. If you say, I want to guarantee that I win lane, not playing to survive, not playing safe like D-Shield does, not playing greedy like Longsword, if you're in the middle, this is for you. D-Blade. You get a lot of health, so you can still make mistakes and the lane is not over. You get access to 1 potion for 120 health, which is 80 less than if you were to have refillable start, right? Only 80 less, which is not a big deal because obviously through, I guess you call it EHP, right? You still have 20 more health because of the 100 health from the D-Blade, right? So you're still actually fine. You get you get the same dueling power as Longsword, and you also have Omnivamp. So this is probably your best start if you're saying, I'm not greedy, but I'm also not going to play like a scaredy cat. This is for you. D-Blade and pot. 1 pot start. It gives you so much power and just really good. So with that being said, those are pretty much all of the starts for Gangplank. I'm just cycling through my head if there's anything else. Yeah, cycling through my head. That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so those are all the runes you should take for Gangplank on patch 13.20, sorry, 13.20, along with all the starting items you should go. Now, let me just cover this quickly because I know there's one missing, which is Corrupting Potion. I think Corrupting Potion is ass. I genuinely think Corrupting Potion is ass. I think D-Shield and D-Blade are better if you're looking for more aggressive or defensive options. Longsword is good. Like, I think Corrupting Potion is obsolete. You're putting 500 gold that doesn't actually give you anything. Now, if you're going Grasp and you're going Q spam, then I'd say, okay, I guess you can get away with it, right? I guess you can get away with it. But 9.5 times out of 10, you should not go Corrupting Potion, and you should just go D-Blade, D-Shield, Longsword Refillable, Longsword 1 or 2 pot, or, did I mention D-Blade? Yeah, or D-Blade. So, in conclusion, that is all the runes and starting items for Gangplank for patch 13.20. And leave a like if you guys enjoyed the video. Comment down below what you want to see next, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.